Hello. 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 Welcome to K Code Therapy Live. Today is our first February stream and our third stream out of three. Just getting comfortable here. 3 is a lucky number. So I'm hoping this will go well. Okay. Same format as always. First, read through an article, and then do some coding, and then we're done. All right, here we go. I wanted to talk about Firebase today because Firebase is something that people use a lot in mobile app development. Firebase it's a central kind of like storage for your application. So if you have an app hosted on a mobile device and you have an app hosted what? No, that doesn't make any sense. Let me go back to the camera. So you have your app in the phone and you have information that you're sending from the phone to another phone. So this one and this one are talking to each other. How does that work? How does this phone talk to this phone? Well, sometimes they can communicate directly to each other, sending signals using RFID or using Bluetooth or using Wi-Fi or all kinds of different connected signal technologies that are available. They will communicate directly with each other. But that's not always the case. In fact, most of the time, phones don't communicate with each other directly at all. And to build something like a social network where people communicate with each other, where they like each other's posts and handle all that stuff, there's going to be a back-end component. There's going to be another application that is somewhere else. It's not in the phone. There's another app that you can't see. This is the cloud. And The cloud sounds mysterious, but it's no different from what you have in front of you on your desk. It's just another computer running a program. So how how do we create something like that? A lot of times that kind of stuff just uses a pre-made software or a cloud hosting platform like Supabase. If you're using Lovable, that's really popular. There's also Firebase from Google. Some people, like me, you might be old school and you just you just roll your own. You get some MySQL databases together with like Python code. You set up a VCS and then you're in the cloud like that. You don't even need a cloud provider like that. But today, I want to talk about the Firebase specifically. Is It's been a really good provider for me for over the years, and I've seen a lot of clients use this one. It's very popular, and one of the really nice features it had and still has is Firebase dynamic links, which unfortunately is being deprecated this year, and there's really no replacement for it coming along. It's just going to go away. So what is it that we're losing in 2025 from Firebase? It's Firebase dynamic links. So if you're wondering what even is Firebase, what is a dynamic link, don't worry, because we're going to explain all of that here. The benefits or the purpose of Firebase dynamic links is so that you can create a URL like www.myapp.com, and when someone who has that installed clicks on that link from their email or from inside Safari, maybe they're on Android, they would click on it from Chrome, and that would actually launch into the app directly without needing any kind of clicking or anything like they don't have to do anything except click on the link. The link just goes directly into the app that they have installed. So if you create a link to Instagram, when you click on the Instagram.com link, it automatically opens the Instagram app and then takes you to the content that's being referenced by the URL. So that's what deep linking is. Dynamic linking with Firebase is the same exact thing, except they take out a few steps. They make it so that you don't have to do as much setup. They make it so that it's easier for product people, the non-technical, the people that don't code, to create new links without having to tool around on a web server. What you would usually have to do without Firebase dynamic links to create a deep link is create an ASA file and an Android app links file for Android and mess around on your web server and get that working. And we can see an example of a dynamic link or an ASA file simply by visiting a popular website like Amazon, where they would have, usually it'll be at a URL like this, like amazon.com/well-known/Apple app site association. Maybe it's not there. Maybe it's here. Oh, we're getting a 301. Oh, wow. Hmm. That's a pretty big ASA file. So look at all that. These are all the link configurations that Amazon has. Maybe we should pipe it through JQ so it's easier to read. Okay, here we are. So this is Amazon.com's ASA file, which they use to configure deep linking in their app. Right here, what I'm using is the terminal in Mac OS. You can use it to issue commands. I use the command curl, which is to download any URL. So if I say curl Kezico, then it's going to download the HTML from my website. You see that? Title, K Consulting, transform your code base into a valuable asset. You can use curl and save to a file with the -o parameter, or you can just use curl by itself, and it'll print everything that you download directly into the console. So if you were to use curl on a file, you would get some really messed up output. But this file is a text file, so it comes out okay. So here's the ASA file for Amazon.com, and they have quite a few apps listed here. They have an app called Hendrix Enterprise, PH7, Amazon CN.enterprise. They have a special ID here. These are just all of the apps that Amazon has that have deep linking enabled on their domain. So imagine you're a developer and you want to create a new app that has deep linking enabled. You have to go to the people that host this file and you have to ask them, maybe even beg them to get an entry into this big file here. And if you get it wrong, if you make a mistake, then chances are your deep linking isn't going to work. And you might even break something else. So these kinds of ASA files are usually protected in big organizations. They might even have a CRM or something hosted to make it easier to edit. But when working with these kind of things, there can be politics. There can be a lot of red tape, a lot of politics. Because look, we're actually at the URL for this is Amazon.com, which is like the apex domain practically. That's a big deal. That's apex. So Firebase dynamic links help to clear that up and make it such that you can just go into your Firebase project and you can go to linking, dynamic links. You can have a video that describes this. You can, once you know what you're doing, then look, yeah, they're no longer supporting this after August 2025, which is a big loss. And a lot of people use this product. I've seen quite a few apps over the years that use this to handle their deep linking. And they really aren't offering a replacement for this, which is a big deal, I think. So to configure this, rather than having to edit that big ASA file that I was showing you from Amazon, where I can just scroll for days and days and days to go through all this. Dynamic links creates like a nice user interface so that you can come in here and start editing. So they're kind of keeping me from getting there. They're like, no, you don't want to use this. This is gonna be this is gonna be this is gonna be deprecated really soon. So don't even bother setting it up. But I know there's got to be a link in here somewhere. I'm gonna give up on that for now. Another great feature of dynamic links was that it would also track clicks. So if you have somebody click on one of your dynamic links, then you would get a little pulse in your analytics so that you know that people are coming to your app through these promotions that you might have set up through email or push notifications. And that's really helpful for like marketing people, for product people to like understand how well their campaigns are working. So moving on from this, because I cannot find the button to configure it. Let me give it one more try. Maybe I need to click how do I get started. No, I surrender. I surrender. So that's all I have to say about that today. That is deep linking. So Firebase has all kinds of really nice features that they are deprecating. But one thing that still works, they still have Crashlytics. They still have remote config. They still have Google Analytics, Firebase Analytics. That's still there. I don't recommend it though. They still have AdMob if you're using that. I think the most popular thing that people use out of here is probably cloud messaging. Like, there's no way they could get rid of cloud messaging. Cloud messaging is like foundational tech for Android, and it's what I want to use for this this app that we started 2 weeks ago, which was the Valentine's Day app. The Valentine's Day app had a feature where you could click a button and then it would send a message to another user. So, for example, you click send a heart. Let me bring that up. You would click this button, send a heart. Or you need a menu of all the users who are in the app. And then using cloud messaging, we could send a message directly to an iOS app or an Android app, and they would get a push notification right away. That's what cloud messaging does. It does push notification for iOS and Android. To set it up on Apple, there's quite a few steps, but on Android, it's pretty easy. Run Android. So I'm coming into this completely cold. I haven't looked at this in like several months, and I'm just stuck in the documentation. I need to get back to the console. There's my Hearts project. Got Apple, Android, and web. Let's add a Android app. So it needs a package name. So we'll call this co.kezi.hearts. And we'll call it Heart app. And then we need the debug signing certificate. And we have to actually get that. So how do you get that? You have to use Android Studio or do a lot of stuff in the command line. You can use key tool to create a key store. And it looks like that's all there is to it these days. So let's try this command and see if we can get a key store very quickly. I don't have a key store yet. So this command that we're using is to list alias your key name. So my key name would be like co.kezi.hearts.keystore. No. And the path to the key store is going to be like source React Native I think we were in Talking Cat and Android. And I'll just hold on to this command for a minute because I haven't even created a key store for this. I don't think I'm ready to really set this up today. Let's see how far I can get though. Let's open up Android Studio. I have a command called AED that will open up the folder that I specify using Android Studio. This is not like a default command. This is something that I actually engineered for my own system. And there we go. There's my Android Studio project. Just by typing that, it launches it up. And so what that actually does it does this. It just does open minus A, Android Studio app, and then $1. $1 means the first parameter passed to this command. So aed foo 1 will be foo. Got it? Good. So if I had aed foo 2, then $2 would be foo 2, and $1 would be foo. And if you wanted AED, it would be $at. So that's a little bit of bash for you. So this command launched my Android Studio into the project that we're interested in. We can now go into creating a key store, which you got to do if you want to do any push notifications. You got to have this stuff squared away. Any push notification stuff, you got to have signing keys. You got to have certificates, provisioning profiles. It's a very bureaucratic process. What I have here, this is Android Studio, by the way. And if you're working with any React Native project, you need to have Android Studio and Xcode. One for the iOS and one for the Android. And the goal, I think, of most React Native developers is to literally never have to open this up. It's a good day if you don't have to open up Android Studio or Xcode. Here we go. We want to create an APK. We want to make a signed APK and create a signing certificate. I think that maybe I haven't synced my Gradle yet, and that's why some stuff is missing here. Let me click on the elephant. It looks like the elephant is missing. Oh, I see. Okay, this actually wasn't open correctly. Let me close this window. Let's do that again. So when I opened Android Studio, I went to this is like my folder for all my React Native projects here. And then Talking Cat is the name of the project, but we're gonna rename that later. It's gonna be called like Hearts or something more relevant. But within that folder, Talking Cat, there is like a whole bunch of stuff, and this is like the root of a React Native project. So you can expect to see an Android project in the Android folder and an iOS project in the iOS folder. And if you haven't guessed already, I opened the root of the project at Talking Cat, which is not an Android project. So we didn't get the elephant button. We couldn't create an APK. We couldn't create a signing certificate, which is what I want. So let me just do that correctly. Android. My special AED command, Android. There we go. See, there's the elephant button, way up there in the corner. This little elephant button is important if you are doing any kind of Android development or working with Android devices. You gotta have the elephant button. What that elephant button does is called syncing, or syncing the Gradle. When we click it, it starts doing a lot of this, and then, oh no, you get an error. And this error is completely new to me. I think maybe this project, like, let me see something. This project is using React Native 077. Yeah, like, yeah, man. Look, React Native 077, which is cool. Like, I like that, but the thing is that I haven't updated Android Studio since like January of 2024, and I think I might be a little bit out of date, and so that must be the source of this error. So to fix that error, I would need to update Android Studio, which is a blocker to our current development task. But what if we didn't use the latest version of React Native? Maybe we could use a different project. Maybe we could do npx React Native at 072 init, and let's call this project Hearts. Yes. So this takes a few minutes. This is how you start a new React Native project. You've got npx, which is a really neat tool for installing or running commands that you don't have, you don't have them on your computer. So npx will go out and get it for you, and the @ symbol tells npx what version of that tool you want to use. And I don't want to use a React Native 077 because that's not working with my Android Studio. And then I'm passing the parameter init, like get init, to this command, React Native. This would be the $1, and then this would be the $2. This is the second parameter, which is I want to call my project folder Hearts. I want to call my project Hearts, and now this is doing a lot of ASCII art and downloading and getting an error. Couldn't find rncli init template config.js file inside React Native template. Make sure the template is valid. This just sounds like a caching problem. Do I have, let me see something. I don't have React Native on my system at all. So if I were to do like install React Native at 072, if I just do this, it's going to install React Native into my system into the node folder. That's like the default React Native. Let's see what that does. Okay, that went pretty quick. So now under, check this out, MVM V18 squiggle slash, that means my home folder. In your home folder, if you're using MVM, you have a folder called .nvm, and inside .nvm you have, excuse me, not MVM, npm. No, I'm pretty sure it's NVM. Alias, no. NVM versions node V18. That's what I've got switched on right now. You can see here because I said NVM ls V18 20.3. V18 20.3. Binaries, a bin, React Native. That's what we just downloaded. And so by running this command, we get the help menu. If you run it without any parameters, you get the help menu. So React Native init hearts. Now, before I run this command, let's just double check that there isn't already a folder here called hearts. There. Let's do it again. Downloading template. Fingers crossed that this will not fail. No. Init template. File inside React Native template. Make sure the template is valid. That hurts. That hurts. So maybe it worked. Like, let's just see. So if we go into the folder, there's nothing there. So it's not downloading like the project template, which is bad. Let's try something else. Let's try this is something that I see people do a lot. They will take their error message. If you get totally stuck, this sometimes works. This doesn't always work. You can take your error message, throw it in here, and see if this helps. They say try deleting, just try clearing the cache. That was what they suggested. Like, this is what people would suggest to do. And then ChatGPT found it, and then they trained on it, and then they gave that suggestion. So let's try that. I think that because I'm using an older version, maybe like the templating is out of date or something like that. But okay, so they say just try and delete this. Just delete that. Does that even exist on my system? Yeah, it does. It is there. So RM, that means like remove or delete, and RF means like R is if you delete a folder, and F means just do it, don't even ask me. And when you do this, you use the file forever. You delete a file like this, and then you can't get it back. I don't even know what this folder is, but I'm just gonna delete it. And it looks like some kind of oh my god, this is owned by like root. you know what? I'm gonna do this like this because I just kind of I'm scared to do it. I don't know what I'm actually deleting. I'm gonna open this in Finder, and then we're gonna throw it in the trash. That way I can get it back if I really need to. They won't let me. They won't let me. Thumbnail agent, Siri. What is this stuff? What is it's part of a randomly generated folder name used by macOS to manage temporary files. It is located in /var/folders, which macOS uses to store caches, temp files, and app-specific data. I mean, yeah, it's just a cache. I can't delete it with Finder. I'm just gonna do this. I can't do it. I can't even do it with sudo. Like Mac OS is super locked down, and you really can't just delete things like that sometimes. So I'm kind of stuck right now. What do I do? I might try using a different version of React Native. Maybe 0.7.3 might work. Let's try 0.7.3. And this is something that happens in software projects. You get started and your tools are out of date, or you haven't even downloaded them, and you just get stuck like this. You're like getting weird error messages, troubleshooting, going through these loops. And for somebody that's new to this tech, it can be overwhelming, and it can just make you want to just give up and walk away. But I mean, I've been through a lot of hurdles like this in the past, and I say don't give up. Just keep trying, keep cracking at it. Talk to somebody who might have faced it before. It looks like that might have worked. Let's see. LS hearts. No. Yeah, like I can't copy the template. Error installing pods failed. Because it couldn't copy the template. Like it's failing to copy the template. Another suggestion that ChatGPT gave was just try and clear npm's cache. We'll try that. Force it. And maybe that worked. I have doubts. Well, this is what tech is like. You can get blocked for days like this. Clearing the cache doesn't help here. I think the reason that it's failing is because I have 7.7. So let me just try this. If I do at version 7.7, if I do MPX React Native at 077 init hearts. It's going to say use the CLI tool, I think. But maybe it doesn't get that same error here. This makes me want to use Flutter. This really makes me want to use Flutter. I really love JSX, React Native's tooling, everything. It's very familiar to me. It's really great. But like Flutter doesn't have a lot of these problems. You can just type like Flutter, I think it's init, Flutter init. Like Flutter init hearts. It's not init actually in Flutter. It's Flutter create. So we did Flutter create hearts, and that's it. Look, now the hearts project is here. There's an Android thing right there. You can open it. Let's see what React Native is doing meanwhile. Meanwhile, React Native isn't working for me. And since like I did this. I did React Native at 077 init hearts. And I got a warning, init is deprecated. Use the CLI, please. And then exiting. Okay, so that did nothing. But meanwhile, in Flutter, we have our Android Studio project here. And we've got our elephant button. And the same error. I think I just need to update Android Studio, honestly. I think that's the conclusion for today, is to update Android Studio. So here's how you do that. Go to android.com. The latest version is Ladybug. I was using Hedgehog. So we click download Android. Agree. I have a Apple chip. Some people have Intel. I had Intel for many years. Intel, one of the great CPU architects. x86. And this is why I didn't want to do this, is because look, it's gonna take forever. This is not something you download on a hotel Wi-Fi. This is something you need a solid connection to download. The file is gonna take more time than we have to download. I've got pretty good connection. I get 1.6 megabits per second, or megabytes, but it's 1.26 gigabytes, and it's going to take a little while to download. So how did we even get to this point? How did we get here? Let's go back. So we started by talking about dynamic linking and Firebase and all the tools that it has. We came to this point, and I wanted to add messaging to our Hearts app, and ended up getting blocked because I am on an old version of Android Studio. And I think the lesson for today is that you really got to stay updated. Like with the Xcode, you've got to have like the latest version. I probably have to update Mac OS to even get the latest Xcode right now. So with Xcode, You can find that in the App Store. And it says, I think 16.2 is the latest, and it requires macOS Sequoia. I have Sonoma 14.3. So I think my whole system is just kind of out of date. I need to do an update and then come back next week, and we will do push notifications then. Cause this is not cool. Not cool. It's only been a year and I'm already out of date. Okay. That is all the time we have for today. So thank you for bearing with me. And if you have similar problems, if you want to pair code, if you want to dive deep, then Code Therapy Collab is available at our site, kezzi.co, kezzi.co. We are currently having a special promotion. Ask about that in email, and use the keyword YouTube Live, and I'll respond to that. $50. And that's it. Thank you for watching, and have a good